welcome back to Diversify the Verse for our April month, which was the Victoria in My Head by Janelle Milanes. So let's say hi to Alex.
Hey guys, so excited to talk about this book. I swear, oh my god, every book I always enjoy. Seriously, this needs more attention.
What?
This needs more attention.
I know, this is like the new book that I'm going to try to promote on Instagram like all the time, except I just got to like take more photos of it.
Yeah, that's true. Me too. I'll do it too.
Because it's so good and it's so like unknown, like nobody has read it. And I'm so happy that we are reading it and that we can actually kind of promote it more. And I don't know, just for the author. And it's just like a really good book that I feel like a lot of people would be interested in reading if they knew about it. So should we say why we chose it?
So I think we just chose it because there was a lot of diverse characters, and also there is an LGBT plus relationship in here. So yes. Yeah, that's something to look forward to. Like if you didn't know it, I feel like is it say on Goodreads? I don't think so.
No, it doesn't.
But yeah, that's awesome. It just had a lot of diverse aspects like sprinkled throughout the book, and it was like sprinkled so flawlessly as well. So it was like really interesting to read. It was just very realistic, basically.
So, I mean, like, there's LGBTQ plus characters, and there's also, like, just racially diverse characters with the main character, Victoria, being Cuban-American, and the guy, Strand, is biracial, Black, I think. And, what's her name? The drummer girl.
Karina.
Yeah, and I think she's Indian heritage.
Yes, and
then, like, the best friend
is Chinese, I think.
Yeah. Or Taiwanese.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of diversity that's just like in there, and I think like we chose it because one, I've been wanting to read this book ever since it came out, but I just like not hadn't picked it up, I guess. And I'm kind of into reading contemporary right now, and also books about music.
Really?
I don't know, because this looks like I read another book about music, like The Brightsiders is about music. I read that, and I read this, and I read something else that had like music to do with it, which is kind of funny. But I guess I'm in like a music contemporary kick right now.
I mean, I guess it would depend. Like, I think the last one that I read about music, what was the last one that I read about music? Crap. I'm forgetting, but I think for this one, it's that I didn't get many of the music references.
Oh, me neither.
Wait, which one?
I didn't get them either.
Yeah. So I was a little bit out of, but I think what's always cool to read in a book or see in like a show or a movie is the band aspect. When like a couple of kids are like creating a band, and it's like I feel like I just love the storyline of it, you know, and what things could go wrong. So that was for me really interesting about this book.
And also, we haven't read that many books with Latinx rep, so we wanted to do that too. Yeah. So. Also, you know, if you liked Simon versus the Homo sapiens, I just keep telling people to read this book because I feel like it's kind of similar. I mean, there is LGBTQ plus rep in this book, but it's not centered around that. So that's like a difference. But it's kind of written in a similar way with Victoria. She kind of has a voice similar to Simon, I feel like. And like with a lot of like, she's a very thoughtful person. So there's a lot of like that kind of, you get to see like directly into her mind, which we see with Simon in Simon versus Homo sapiens agenda. But also there's a big focus on, you know, family and friendship. And something that she does really well is creating really complex characters, even if you don't see them for a long time. Like in the Simon, like everyone is super interesting. Like I could take a book about anybody in the Simon versus Homo sapiens agenda, like universe. Because like everyone is so like interesting, and I feel like the same thing with this. Like I want more books about the characters in here. Like I would love a book about her best friend or about even Levi. I would take a book about Levi because that'd be interesting. Or
wait, I say Levy. Levy.
That's funny.
That's what I've been saying for like in my head when I've been reading the book inside, like on my own. I've been saying Levy. It's Levi. Yeah, I knew people said Levi and Fangirl, so maybe I should just get with that. Let's just use that. Yeah, so it doesn't sound.
Well, I mean, you can say it however you want to say it, but
yeah.
Levi. Because it's like Levi the jeans. I think you say Levi.
Oh, yes. Levi. Yes, you're right.
But yeah, so like all the characters are super interesting, and I feel like they could be like spun off into another book.
Yeah.
And like read them. So it kind of has that similar aspect, and you know the focus on family and friendship. I love that in this book. And it was just, I don't know. I guess I'm like going on like full review.
No, I know. I just feel like it's also very, I guess, coming of age. It tells like a story about first love, like expectations. It's something like you could learn from. Like you could easily take like a book, read about an experience, and kind of apply that to your own life. That sort of thing. That's why I really liked it. And the main character in this book is actually pretty young. She's a sophomore. I mean, for me, I don't know why I felt she was pretty young. I know sophomore in the YA world is not. I mean, in the YA world, it is pretty young, but in real life, it's, like, not that young. But, you know, I don't know if I'm the only one who felt that.
No, I definitely agree. Yeah. She's only 15.
Yeah, she's only 15.
Okay, 15. Yeah. Let's do this.
Yeah, some of the stuff that she was doing in the book, I was just like, whoa, I didn't do that when I was 15. And it's so easy to, like, compare yourself in that situation. Or I guess if you were, like, age 15 and, like, you've been reading about the stuff that she does in this book, you're like, wait, what? Right? Like.
But at the same time, I feel like it is kind of relatable in the way that as a 15-year-old, you would go through, like, some of the thoughts. Like, it is, like, tackle teenage drinking or, and, like, sex and like that. But that's kind of, like, as a teenager, things that you're surrounded by and you are, like, go through your mind. So I feel like that's honest. I really liked how genuine it was. Like, I mean, Victoria was a little young, I feel like, but not really. Like, a lot of 15-year-olds nowadays are, like, really mature.
Oh, yeah, and also, like, it was really interesting since it was first person and we were following Victoria that the entire thing, and we are talking about how young she is, there are some thoughts that play out in her mind, like, when she comes up with when she comes to a situation like drinking, like when we talked about sex, like you can hear what she's thinking, and it's kind of like she's like, oh wait, like what? Like how do I do this? How do I do that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's very like it's easy to relate to be in that situation and be like, oh, first time doing any of these things, it's always very stressful, very scary, and she's kind of like you're living through her basically, you know.
And I just found her really relatable.
Yeah, that's what I've been reading so far.
Really relatable, even more than like some Asian American characters of books that I've read. Like I find Victoria like really relatable. Just kind of, she does explore a little bit of the whole. I guess in Victoria's situation, like being Cuban and being American and being Cuban American and how that dynamic works. But I also just like found her as a character, her personality to be like really relatable.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how I'm like a stickler about music in books? I also really liked how in this one they do give a more like a realistic view of book that's not of music that's not romanticized, because you know like that's my big thing is like music is always overly romanticized in books. Like when people are like, oh, this is like a symphony, I'm like, I'm a music person. I never think about how things are like a symphony.
Yeah, that's true. It was just like a love for music in this book.
Yeah. But I mean, like we're in a different genre too. We're like in rock and punk. But yeah, I didn't like know any of the artists.
I knew some of them.
Some of the artists, but I like didn't know any of the songs.
Yeah.
From this book.
Oh my god, and I thought their band name, Debaser, was so hardcore. Like what? It doesn't sound like a high school band. It sounds like a punk rock, like gothic, like Debaser. Like, oh my god.
Yeah. Okay. Should we announce our next book?
Oh yeah, let's announce.
Like, first impression-y, like non-spoilery things you want to say?
No, that's pretty much it. Because I mean, we just answered our first question too. You know, we always answer our first question.
Yeah. Okay. So our next book is going to be, since it's Asian American, Pacific Islander American Heritage Month is, I don't know if it's going on like right now or it's like coming up. It's like May, I think. So we thought it'd be, you know, fun to do a book that has Asian American rep in it. So our next book, does Alex have the picture?
Yeah. So we're going to be reading The Way You Make Me Feel by Maurene, and I think we did read the first book that she wrote in Diversify. Yeah, we did.
We didn't do it for Diversify, but we did it.
Oh, okay. So, all right. Well, so we read Maurene Gu's first book. And this is her second one, The Way You Make Me Feel. I actually don't know anything about this, so Belinda, if you know anything about it and you would like to share. It's a really pretty cover though. Asian Americans on the cover, y'all. Look at that. Look how cute.
So I haven't really looked at okay, what I do is like when books come out, I read the synopsis and I'm like, I want to read this, and then I forget everything about it. But kind of doing some research on the book this week, trying to figure out what we want to do. I think don't take me for like every word I say, but I think the main character is like Brazilian Korean, and her dad has a like a food truck, and she gets into some trouble, so then she has to work at her food truck, I think with her like arch enemy for the summer or something. And gonna be a cute contemporary. I think that's kind of the gist of it. There's probably a cute guy in there. I think he's supposed to be like Chinese American, and yeah, that's all I go about, all I know. But I'm really excited. I liked her first book. I really enjoyed that, and so I'm excited to read her second book. I know Alex wasn't as much of a fan of the first book, but hopefully this goes better.
Yeah, I heard it was definitely better. Also, just like, can we just talk about all the like the amazing contemporaries coming out in the next few months that will like set us up for the summer? Like, I'm saving Stay Sweet by Siobhan Vivian for like May, June, and then this one definitely would be my May book, and it's just gonna be a lot of fun. It's like I'm usually not into contemporaries, but in this type of like season and this, it always gets me in the mood, you know?
Yeah. I also like how contemporary is not as difficult to read, like mentally. I know, like, because at this time of year, you know, it's the end of the school year, end of the semester, and a lot of things are like crazy happening. So I like something that's like not so like intense.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Needing mental energy. Like some like more fantasy, like you have to kind of really do a lot of construction of the world in your mind and like be able to follow this really expansive plot. But this is it's just like fun. But yeah, so we're gonna be reading The Way You Make Me Feel, and hope you join us for that because it should be really fun. And actually, I get to go meet her in like 2 weeks, so I'm excited.
What? Honestly, I recently went to a book event, but I'm like I barely go to book events anymore.
Yeah. It's hard. It's really fun. There's like 3 that week. So, and it's also the last week of class, and I'm like, oh,
same.
Please don't like project. Huh?
School's ending for me too, so just excited to. Oh gosh.
And also, I wanted to say that our live show for the May book will probably be in like the beginning of June because I will be out of the country at the end of May going on tour with my orchestra. So that'll give us like a kind of more time. And I don't think the book comes out until like
come May 8th.
Second week of May.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So let's get started on this book. I'm so excited to discuss. If you haven't read it, prepared, you might get spoiled. Especially actually the second question, you'll probably get spoiled. So thank you for joining us. Non-spoiler people, come back or beware. Do you want to ask the second question? Second question.
Okay. So what do you think about Victoria and Levi's relationship? Do you think they'll last? So it's funny that you asked this question because honestly, in the beginning of the book, like I already knew from the moment like she was like when she first saw Strand and she didn't even know that he was in the band yet, and then she's like, oh my god, this dreamy guy. I was like, they're obviously gonna end up together. Like I feel like it was supposed to be it was set up that way for a reason, of course, because you need to go through all the obstacles and everything. And like just what her relationship with Levi, like it even showed Victoria a lot about herself as well. So I think it was, I mean, honestly, in my opinion, it wasn't like even though if she did have feelings for Strand, I don't think she should have pursued a relationship with Levi. Sorry, Levi, because she did have feelings for Strand. So yeah. I definitely don't think they lasted in that time that I read the question, but
yeah, I mean, at the beginning, I was like, I like Levi. I like that he's like a nice guy, and he is very like focused on school, and I guess like that appeals to me as someone who's like like really hardworking and determined, and so I like that. And he also like took her to the orchestra, and I was like, boy, if anyone takes me to the orchestra to see the London Symphony Orchestra at Carnegie Hall, I'm just like, yes. But then also like, yeah, I was kind of confused because like in the synopsis it sets it up to be Strand.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, so we're not gonna go with Strand yet. Well, but I guess I do kind of like how she was with Levi first, because as like a first relationship, and also with just where Victoria and Strand were at that point. Like Strand is definitely like the player, kind of a bad boyish kind of a character, and I think he had a little more growing to do before, like if they could be a couple and be like a successful couple.
Yeah, and I think it's like that trope, or not that trope, but I think it's like Victoria was like, this guy's like too much of a player, like I'm not gonna be that one girl who can change him or whatever. So I think that's why she kind of like went with Levi, and because he showed feelings for her. It like, and also she talked about this a lot throughout the book, but Victoria always like felt like she wasn't like loved in that way. Like we're not talking about love from like a parent, but like in that way, you know what I'm saying? Like admired by someone.
Attractive from other people.
Yeah, like admired by someone, or like when like just I don't know what it's called, but like she wanted an admiration from someone. And I think when Levi showed like he kind of had a crush on her, she was just like, okay, like let's see where this will go. Like honestly, like no, like she probably wasn't think she was gonna go anywhere with Strand. So I think that's why she started dating him and pursuing a relationship. But yeah, I honestly don't think she should have if she had feelings for another guy. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. And also I just like find it really sad, like later on where they do like break, like she's I guess debating breaking up, or when they actually break up, where she's like, is this the only person who will ever love me, and am I just throwing this away? And I just found that like really sad. But I feel like that is also really like a really relatable thought. I don't know. And just like her idea of like, she was kind of like settling for Levi, and Levi that's kind of like why they broke up, with Levi like kind of knew that she was just kind of like settling for him, and both of them weren't really working towards this relationship. But I don't know, I just found those like thoughts to be like really relatable and really genuine and honest. So yeah, I don't know where I was going with that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely agree. There was a lot of things that I like. If I was like, I feel like if I was Victoria, like I'm saying I would have done differently, but like you can definitely see her growth through all of this, like what she learned. So I kind of like, that's why it was relatable, because sometimes when you're like that young and you're in the moment and you're just like, I don't really know what to do. So I definitely see, and you can like see her, like I said, it's first person, you can see her thinking through all this, her thought process, and it's just really interesting how in the way that she thinks, that she perceives things, because it's so similar to how like teenagers do today. So that's like the part that I love the most.
And some of the things like I wouldn't do, but I feel like they would have crossed my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of the like insecurities she brings up, like they would have crossed my mind. Like the whole idea of like, oh, is this the only person who's ever gonna like love me? Am I like attractive to other people? Like that's definitely something I'm pretty sure it crosses everybody's mind at some point, even if they don't say it, or don't share it. Like I feel like that's something really relatable, and that's what I really liked about Victoria's character, is that I just like found her that just feel like really relatable, like some of like the insecurities that you like go through your mind when you're not feeling very good about yourself. That's okay. Yeah. Anything else to add?
I mean, other than that, like I feel like, don't you feel like Levi, like we know that Victoria kind of has this rebellious side where she like wants to do her, she wants to be in the band, but like being with Levi is kind of like very safe for her. Like it's still living in her world. Like when she's with Strand, she feels like, oh, he's kind of like a step out of her world and her league. It's kind of like that. Like it just really made me feel that. So yeah. Okay, next question.
Oh wait, can I say
yes? Someone asking question?
No, wait. I was gonna say something about Levi. I was gonna see that's another thing. But I don't like with Levi. I guess this is talking about like their breakup. But I don't know, like Levi's characters in general, I just feel like he was kind of annoying because he never made time to do anything.
Oh yeah, I mean that was
like, I'm busy. I'm out of here. Yeah. Which would kind of be me. I feel like in a relationship, I feel like I gotta go practice, so I'll see you when I see you. But yeah. Like, I really wanted him to make more of an effort, and I was really annoyed that he didn't. That's about it I have to say about that. Okay, I'll ask the next question. What do you think the Cruzs? Why do you think the Cruzs would act so differently around Strand and Levi?
Ooh, interesting question.
I think. Well, I mean, they really want to impress Levi. Like, they know he comes from like this really like wealthy, high society family. And they really like want to impress him. Like when she's like prepping to go over for dinner. Oh my gosh! Well, you know what really annoyed me about Levi? He didn't realize she was a vegetarian.
I know that part really pissed me off. You know, honestly, I didn't even know.
Like, in that situation, what?
Like I didn't catch it.
That she was a vegetarian?
Yeah, I didn't. Like it was unbeknownst to me. But like obviously he should have, because he was with her every day, like eating lunch with her. So obviously yes. But like for me, just as an outsider, I was just like, what?
I think I may have noticed, like, I don't remember it being like.
I don't think she ever said it. She never said it, right?
Spoken, but it kind of made sense. I don't know, like, I wasn't surprised by it. But I like read this book like 2 weeks ago and I already forgot it all.
Yeah, you probably remember more than me.
That was really annoying, Levi. And what was annoying is he never really paid attention to her, and that's what I like, and like the details, and that's like the part where he gets her tights for Valentine's Day. I'm like, seriously, out of everything you could have given to her.
I know, like that was such a letdown.
Not even like fancy tights.
You can't even just you can get her like well, actually, wait, I didn't. Okay, honestly, the tights, like, okay, of course they're very like, in comparison to like something big, but like I thought that kind of showed he was paying attention though, because she did have like ripped tights at his place, and like when she bought it, she actually really needed it. Like, I don't know.
I feel like it was insensitive.
Okay, I feel like he should have just got her the tights as like not even a gift, just like, oh, here's new tights, like for my girlfriend. But then he should have got her like a nice gift, right? But I don't think the tights were bad. Like they were good. Like I would honestly, appreciate something that I would need instead of more than like, No, I see what you mean. No, I see what you mean. Trust me. But like, yeah.
Yeah, tights are right. Unless they're like super fancy. Like I'm on the look for like constellation, like star tights, but I haven't found them yet. But probably not for Valentine's Day. I mean, for like Christmas. Not Valentine's Day. But I think also like, like when Levi comes to their house for dinner and they like try to like be really like fancy, and then they use their like fancy plates and try to like impress them, and it's like super awkward.
Yeah.
But then like, Strand comes over and she like wakes up, and then her mom is like laughing because Strand is like wowing her. But I think like, part of it is that I don't know like what Strand's I guess like financial system is like, because you don't.
Yeah, I don't think they ever mention it.
Like, I mean, he does go to their like really expensive, fancy prep school.
Yeah, so they must be well off, but like still, like I feel like when we're talking about like appearances, I feel like Strand just looks a lot like looser than like Levi, who's more of a like he's more of that like prep student kind of like, yeah. And I feel like yeah. Go ahead.
You go.
Oh, I feel like Strand is like the type to be in a band. Like I feel like if Levi were on like if you saw him in the school, you would never expect him to be in a band. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I think it's also like maybe like physical, like how they look. Like, I mean, like you were saying, like Levi is very like preppy, and he's white, and Strand is biracial black, and he's kind of like more like casual, and he is like more easy to be around. And I feel like Levi also, like when he comes to dinner, he's kind of awkward.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, the whole thing was awkward, but he's also kind of like doesn't really know how to act in that situation. And Strand is like, "Hi, I'm here. Let's go see like all of this stuff, and your mom is so fun and all that stuff." And he's like really like kind of into the family kind of a thing, which maybe comes from their background too, because like Levi, when she goes over to her house, is like when Victoria goes to his house for dinner, it's just like his mom there, and she's like there alone all day, like doing nothing. And Levi comes from like a family where he is like close to his sister, and he just has his parents have divorced or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like he lives with his dad, and like I feel like he kind of has like a more relaxed and more like family oriented personality. And then Levi is like an only child, and maybe that kind of happens. But yeah. Do you have anything else to say?
I think we hit it on the head. Okay, okay, I love this question. Do you think Victoria's parents will ever support her dreams? Why or why not? So, like this, okay, like I really liked mostly in this book how the book touched upon like the American dream and like something that's so relatable to me now because I'm a senior in high school, so I've been through that time when like high schoolers are applying to colleges and there's this huge pressure, like it's the elephant in the room, like it's not even something subtle, but like where if you don't go to an Ivy League, you're basically like worthless. Like that's just the mood. That's not, obviously that's not how I feel, or that's not how some people feel, but it's just a very pervasive like thought in people's heads.
Is that like with your school? Like, do a lot of people at your school aim for going to Ivy League colleges?
Yeah, definitely. Since I mean, my school's really competitive as well because it's like you take a test to get in, so like already you're already with like some of the smartest kids in like the city. So it's like it's really hard to especially since in this book I think she's a first generation, right?
Yeah, or like I'd call it. I mean, some people like mix up whatever second generation. Or
yeah, that's me. That's me.
And I think first generation are the people who moved, and then second generation is their children.
Okay, so second generation.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, I can say children of immigrants or whatever.
Oh yeah. But yeah. So she had this. Even in the book, like in the beginning of the book, I felt it was more of her talking about like she was only going to do the track team for like on her college application to get into Harvard. And it just this whole like atmosphere, like the mood in the book where it's like, oh, you're reading about this thing again. And I don't know how to explain it, but like I feel like in the book, when we talk about like immigrants and then their children, like I feel like there's this pressure on the child to do better than their parents, you know, like to obviously be successful and help the parents out. So when I was reading the book and I was thinking, would the parents ever like support her being in the band? I said no, they wouldn't support her being in the band because I feel like for the first half of the book they were very like they wouldn't even try to understand, like they would just keep talking against it and not even like listening to her sing. Like that's also another thing. Like I feel like in the beginning if she just like gave them a clip of her singing or even invited them to one of their things, honestly, but like to be honest, if I was her, I wouldn't have lied about it in the first place. Like like I would have told them and I would have like maybe presented something or something, but I wouldn't like have like kept it quiet and then one day it's just like they find out, like not by me telling them, you know. So I think that's what made it worse because then they lost their trust in her, and then like, oh, you gotta get it back, and like it's so hard. But yeah, what do you think?
I feel like eventually she'll win them over. I feel like they just, like you were saying, like they don't really understand like her wanting to be in a band. Like they're very like education focused, and I feel like that's relatable with me too. And like the pressure you feel, like your parents did all of this for you. They moved to another country, a country they don't even know the language, and you know how to get these like certain type of jobs because like, you know, we're in America. America kind of sucks sometimes. Like even if they do have like a really credible like an education or whatever. Like sometimes it's just like impossible to even get the same job here as they would have had back in their like country of origin. And so like you feel like you have to succeed for them. Like they've tried so hard. Like this is, I guess, something that I've been like working through a little bit myself, kind of more currently. But just, you know, like your parents are like working so hard, and you're like having like really wanting to I don't know, like honor them, and I don't know where I went with that.
No, and also like if we honestly, now I know what I was talking about. This book is so similar, like in that same like plot line where it's like, oh, like obviously like about school and whatever, and parents, like the American dream. It's very similar to American Panda, don't you think? Like,
yeah, in some ways, yeah.
Yeah, and it's very similar to American Panda. So I think if you like that, you'll definitely like the message in this book, where it's like kind of like, yes, still make your parents proud, and like obviously you want to show them that what you're doing is something that you're actually passionate about, but it's also like following your own, like what you want to do, and like being happy, basically not putting yourself through all that just to be successful, but also not happy, you know?
Yeah. But I do agree with you in how like she shouldn't have lied about it. Like I feel like if she presented it as something that that would help her maybe in the future with college. I mean, because like with college, I mean, it's college is very, very competitive. Getting into like a really good college, and you have to be like a very, very well-rounded student that's involved in every single thing, even though it's impossible. But and like a lot of experiences that you feel like are this is like going into college advice. This is random. That, you know, feel like they're not really like, you know, college, but they're gonna like really like, you know, they're not like doing the track team where it's like official and everything, but like there are a lot of like other experiences that you can have that are really important, like that you could put in like essays for scholarships and things like that. So like, you know, being in a band is working with a team and being a leader and all that stuff. And I guess they don't really see that. But if she explained it that way, she was like, you know, I'm getting leadership experience by being in a band. This is like totally, I think that would be kind of funny. But like doing like things like that, or just like being involved with, you're just being involved with music. You're in a band at school, and you just like forget the part about it being like punk rock, playing at like bars and bowling alleys and things like that. But I think like, yeah, if she explained it to her parents and was like, I'm in a band, but it's not going to take away from my schoolwork. I'm still going to study really hard and work really hard on school, but this is something that I like really enjoy and that I want to do. And because I feel like she seemed like she could keep up with it like decently well, like at least get by.
Yeah, and just like another thing. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I know she hated it, but I feel like they could have worked it out where she didn't have to. Like, she didn't even tell the other people that she was like, "Oh, I have track after school, so can we rehearse like after track or something?"
Yeah, and like also,
but she's like 15, so I'm like, well.
Like honestly, going into college advice, like I know this is gonna be like a college advice live show now, but like I feel like if you're in a band, it's worth so much more than being on track. Like, that came out the wrong way. Like I feel like colleges nowadays are looking for people who are, like you said, well-rounded, but also that are doing something unique and like that are still like what they love. Like it's honestly their passion and they're doing something unique, you know?
And, you know, she could spin it up into like volunteer hours and be like, oh, I'm in a band, and like sometimes our band plays for, you know, certain volunteering thingies, like playing for like a retirement home, because they do like play a lot of like kind of like older rock music. So I mean, I'm sure you could like find a nursing home, a retirement home, and like play for people there. It doesn't have to mean like super like punky and like rhythm. Like, you don't need to bring the drums, but you could do like acoustical and call it like volunteer hours. You just gotta be like crafty.
Yeah. And like just other than that, it shows your passion and your creativity, and I feel like it's something that colleges would be like, whoa, like that's really cool, you know?
Something that's challenging you.
Yeah, and honestly, I just wanted to go in that book and be like, Victoria, you should like do this and go instead of just lying to your parents, because I think initially why they were so angry at her was her decision to hide it and join the band and go to practices and like quit track without telling her parents. Like, what are you doing? That was honestly, that was like for me. I was very like angry. I was just like, this could have played out like totally different.
And I feel like her parents are like really understanding and really supportive.
Yeah.
I mean, when we see them in the book, they're a bit like upset with her about these things, but I feel like they're really like loving, understanding parents. And if she would have just like told them about it, it would have like went better. Yeah. Okay, next question.
Okay. Is it
me?
Yeah.
How do Victoria's relationship, in a general sense, with Strand and Levi differ? Why do you think that is? We kind of like talked about this a little bit, I guess, with her family.
Yeah.
And I feel like some of the same things that happen with that, but also maybe, I don't know, because like I guess with this, maybe what I was getting at with this question was like how with Strand, she was told like she could bring him into her room and show him like all these things that she's interested in, like all her like specific playlists, which I thought were really cute, and like Strand was totally into it. And then when she brought Levi over, and he was like, "Oh, cool." That was about it. That was Levi, and so I guess like how does that make them different? I don't know. I guess I mean at that stage of Levi and Victoria's relationship, they were kind of like going downhill. But I don't know, I guess there's also like that whole idea with like Levi's that a lot of the time she was trying to impress him. I feel like even if she wasn't like didn't know it, I feel like she was really like trying to impress him and like be that girlfriend, whatever like she thought was like being a good girlfriend that she was doing. Like I feel like she wasn't being her genuine self. Whereas with Strand, like she doesn't have to impress Strand really. Because they're not dating and they're just like friends, and they like he jokes around and teases her a lot, and I feel like they have like a more like casual kind of a relationship, which makes things a lot easier like to share. And you have anything to say?
Yeah, like for Strand, like it was a very natural. I think it's because she was kind of attracted, but she didn't really envision a friendship. So like you said, she didn't feel like she needed to like kind of like prepare when she was around Strand. She didn't have to like fix her hair, like prepare herself. But with Levi, I felt like I feel like her relationship with Levi caused her to have a lot of like second thoughts about herself. Like she was constantly like thinking about like her body image and kind of like thinking about like sex, right? Like that kind of thing. And
we're thinking about like her family and like what kind of a family she comes from and things like that.
Kind of second guessing like herself and like what she wants and like and for I think staying with him was kind of like a little toxic because she did notice that for the first part of the book, I felt like he was really like into her and they were having like it was a really good relationship. Like he was really nice to her, like but then the second half where he wasn't barely getting in touch with her, like when he was on vacation. And I felt like for her, it was just making her go crazy. And you could see like she was thinking like, am I not good enough? Like, what else do I have to do? And that to me was not healthy. So I definitely felt like Strand's and her relationship was a lot more natural. Whereas Levi, she's just like, oh, he's available. He's open. Let's go. Let's like that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Just like with Strand, I don't know. He's just more, and I feel like just his personality, he's a bit more of an open person and like puts himself out there and really like makes an effort. Like with Levi, I don't know, maybe just it's kind of like going back to the way that people are raised, and I'm not saying like that it's like an issue, but like which way you're raised, but just like it does have an impact on your personality. And I feel like Strand is more of an open person and more of a person who would like joke. Like Levi is definitely like more of a serious person.
Yeah, he's serious
too, and that can kind of be intimidating at sometimes. But yeah.
Yeah, and I felt for like when she was with Levi, everything was so planned out, like to the T. But with Strand, it was kind of like unpredictable, and she didn't know what was gonna happen next. It was just very. I felt like more like her. Like I felt like Levi was just like, it was just it was too much. He was too serious, man.
he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Question?
Yeah, I mean, some parts were like unbearably awkward to read, but I felt like they made the story more realistic because there are awkward moments like that when you're eating dinner with a family and it's just like, oh shit, like when you don't know what to expect. So
yeah.
Okay. So what do you think of the song titles at the beginning of the chapters? That's question 6. So you know what? I feel like I just don't notice things, but there are song titles in the beginning of every chapter, and I didn't notice they were. You know what? I thought they were quotes at first, but then I'm like, oh wait, these are like really short quotes. So like you said, they are song titles. Did you look up any of the songs while you were reading?
No, I should have.
I should have too, but I was just like, I'm enjoying the story. I am not going to stop, and I just kept reading.
Because they are short chapters too.
Yeah, that's very. And I noticed that she also has a Spotify playlist. She created it. It's called The Victoria in My Head. It's created by the author, and there's like 54. Wait, oh my God, can we check? Are there 54 chapters in this book?
There's 56.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Well, wait. Okay, so interestingly enough, the last chapter is called Debaser, and it's by the Pixies, and there is a song in the I think the songs in this playlist are in line with the songs in the chapters. Am I right? Am I wrong? I think so. Because the last song that's interesting. Yeah, because the last song on this playlist is also the Debaser by the Pixies, which I'm gonna listen to after this. I'm gonna listen to most of them. But yeah, at the moment I didn't have a chance to listen to it.
There's Simon's favorite, Elliott Smith.
Oh wait. Oh yeah, I see.
That's Simon's favorite, right?
Yeah.
I knew that for sure.
I see it in the playlist. Yeah, so I think this playlist is in line with the chapters in the book, but I think it's really cool that she includes song titles. I feel like I've never seen this before.
And I think it'd be interesting when you, after listening to it, or like if you reread it, to listen to the music and like read it and see like how they connect. Because I'm sure they like have some connection. They wouldn't just be like random titles.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I don't know. I always find things like this to be like really interesting. Make you think, and I don't know. I like them even if I don't know who anyone is or what anyone's songs are. I mean, I recognize a couple of people. Like I saw Saint Vincent. Not that I've listened to anything by Saint Vincent. There's Arcade Fire.
I sent you the link to the playlist.
What?
I sent you the link to the playlist just if you.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly don't know like anyone like.
Really?
Radiohead. Yeah. Like. Who else?
It's
Hosier.
Tim. Hosier. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's French. It'd be like Hosier.
Yeah, Hosier. Where else? Yeah, I don't know anyone else, honestly. So it's really interesting to see this different like taste in music, which I'll definitely listen to. And I'm very curious about the song titled "Debaser" by Pixies because I'm guessing that's where she got the band name from.
Yeah.
That was.
I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah, I should probably like listen to this. It's not really like I'm not a very punk rock.
Yeah, but honestly. And honestly, I wish there was a song that was kind of like from the characters in these books, because I would love to listen to them sing. Like I was always thinking through the book, you're reading about them singing and you're reading about them playing, but like you can't hear it, and it's the most torturous thing.
Yeah.
You really want to hear them, and you want to like I was
especially like the Strand song at the end.
Oh my God, exactly. I was just like, I can't hear his damn voice, and I don't know how he sounds. Like he must sound good because they were like, oh, he has the voice of an angel, but he doesn't want to sing. And I was just like, oh, so torturing. Yeah, I gotta.
The ending was just like my heart.
I know. I swear, I've loved band stories because I always feel like I want to be in a band, but like there are no bands. Like in my school, like we got no instruments like that. We got no cool like outings like that. Or no gigs to play. So I feel like it's just a whole different atmosphere. But yeah, it'd be really cool to see. like high schoolers in a band, you know. I feel like that's such a big thing in like movies and TV shows, you know.
Oh my gosh, like in the Brightsiders, like I want them to be real, so I can just about them, honestly. But yeah, I don't know. I would really like to hear what they sound like or what their song sounds like. And see Strand because he's probably really hot. So
dead ass. I feel like they all look so particular, and like just Victoria thinking she's so shy, but then she fits into the band so well.
Yeah.
Like, damn, I want to be in a band. Okay. And okay, like, can we also? I know this isn't a part of our questions, but like, I feel like the plot on Goodreads kind of threw me off because like it talked a lot about her stage fright, and like it wasn't that bad. Like it was only talked about like her stage fright was only like in the beginning, like that one section was kind of afraid, and then she basically conquered it throughout the entire book, right? Do you feel that?
I mean, I feel like she still has that
like nervousness,
but it wasn't like, you know, as crippling.
Yeah.
As it was in the beginning. So it wasn't a story about her conquering her stage fright, which is, I guess, what the synopsis led it to be about.
Yeah, that's the one thing that with me that I was kind of like, oh wait, damn, I was like thought this was gonna be a story about a girl who like conquers it in like some creative way or something, and I was like, oh, maybe you could help me with my stage fright, but it definitely is not.
I'll work on it. Apparently, I am, because I did this. This is totally off topic.
Yeah.
But I did this Innovate-a-thon, which is like a hackathon. Where we, like, as a group, we had to make up a project. And then at the end, we presented, and then, like, the winner gets some money. And then my team was like, there was, two of them were already presenting, like, a business side, and I was presenting, like, the computer programming side. And the other two were like, Belinda, you're the best talker, so you're going to do that. And I'm like, what? Okay.
Can you?
But we'll work on it together. We'll work on it. I got some tips.
So yeah, so I actually have like really bad anxiety. Like I actually like have like I pass out like that. Yeah, it's like I freaking hate it. But I think it's getting like I think I find now that I get more nervous when I'm presenting something or like saying something that I'm not prepared. Like, I feel like, because I've been presenting my research, but I feel like I'm so passionate about that. But yeah, I need to get over it because I actually want to audition for an a cappella group in college. So you need to perform in front of people, and like that's not going to be fun if I'm going to be afraid, you know? So
yeah, performance anxiety. I got you.
Yes, help me next year.
Next question. Next question.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it my turn to ask?
Yeah.
How has being in a band made an impact on Victoria's character and life? Well, I feel like, I mean, I guess this is where we brought in like the stage fright. I feel like it did help her like just be more confident overall, in her life, and you know, like being on stage, just like, and also like being in a band introduced her to a new group of people. Like before, it was just like Victoria and her friend. What's her friend's name?
Annie,
yeah. And so before it was just like her and Annie, but now she's got other friends. She has Karina, she has Strand, she has Levi.
Wow, we're making her seem so sad. Like she only has Annie.
But she did only have Annie. She like talks about it too, doesn't she? At the beginning, she's like, I just have Annie as my friend, and I just go to school and do well and not talk to anybody, and then I go to track, and I'm like super good at track, even though I hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like it introduces her to like new people and just like new opportunities, and gave her a lot of confidence that she didn't have before. And I don't know, I feel like it really helps her like figure out who she is. It's a whole like coming of age thing that everyone.
Yeah, it's.
But I feel like, because like the whole idea was like there's the Victoria in life and there's the Victoria in her head, and she was like wasn't really happy with like the Victoria in her real life, and turns into the Victoria in her head, I guess. I don't know where I'm going with this. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, I feel, oh my god, like I remember first when you suggested this book and I read the title and I'm like, what the heck does this mean? Like the Victoria in my head. Like it first sounded really weird when I said it out loud, but now I realize it's more about like this version of herself that she wants to be. And I think how the band changed her life was that it kind of showed her an alternate route. I think when we're comparing to American Panda, it's like it's how the main character in American Panda learned that there wasn't only an option that she had to be a doctor. You know, like I think Victoria's the same way where she's kind of like, oh, like I don't only have to do track. I don't only have to be this person. I can also be in a band. Like I think it's just opened her mind to new possibilities. And yeah, just gave her like something that she could be like passionate about, you know?
Yeah.
Like for track, like she was so miserable, it kind of hurt, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really glad that she found the band and that she was able to, yes, like you said, have a lot more friends. And she did, I feel like with the band, she like did a lot more things, like really opened herself up. Like even though like experienced more things, learned more things about herself than she would if she hadn't joined the band, you know?
Mm-hmm. And she like really took charge of her life. Like before, she was just kind of like getting by, and I feel like she didn't really have a good sense of like her life, and she didn't really feel, you know, like that she was controlling her life and it was going the way that she wanted to. Like she was, you know, a good student and everything, and her parents wanted her to go to Harvard, so she was like, okay, I'm gonna go to Harvard. I'm gonna do all these things so that I can get into Harvard, and nothing that she was really like in love with doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Should we go to the next question?
Yeah, next question. Oh, this is my favorite. So do you think you live a different life in your head?
Yeah, I just like randomly added this.
No, that's such a good, like, oh my God, such a good question because there's, yeah, of course, I feel like everyone always, like, even when you're in a situation, you're like, oh, I like, you don't want to do this. Like, let's say if I were like, oh, how do I say this? Like, we always think of different scenarios whether we're not, like, stressed, where we're not stressed, where we're not anxious about something, where we're, like, a better version of ourselves, like, doing the things that we want to be doing, but we're kind of scared to, or something's holding us back, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So in that way, I definitely feel like I live a different life in my head. Like I'm a different person. Yeah. What did you think when you were asking this question?
I feel like in terms of what Victoria is going through, like I'm kind of living out my dream right now. Like I really want to be a performer, and I am a music major, and I'm doing like really well. I'm like getting ready to like start on my new repertoire for my new recital. My teacher's like, everything you have on here is really hard, and I'm like, yeah, I know. It's like, and she's like, and I was like trying to suggest, we're trying to come up with things, and she was like, this is really, really hard, but you can do really hard, but you also have a lot of really hard on here. So I don't know. I just like, I feel like I am like pursuing the dream that I have in my mind, I guess, for the most part, like, you know, being a performer, and also like my computer science, like I'm making progress on everything. And I finally like have gotten to a place in my life where I could be like, yes, I want to be an author, and I don't care whatever else you want to say about this, but this is what I want to do. Or like, I want to be a performer. I'm not afraid to say that I want to be a performer. Like, so like it's like a really big step to be able to like share those dreams that you have in your head. But I feel like in terms of if I live a different life in my head, I feel like the person in my head is a lot more like outgoing. I guess like in my mind, I'm a bit more outgoing than I am in like real life. Or I guess, you know, I feel like in different situations, like, you know, with you, I'm like super like out. Like, I mean, I'm here on YouTube talking to nobody. I'm talking to you and talking to hundreds, thousands of people who are gonna like click on this video, and I can just like be super confident and like super talkative, and like in real life, I'm like I don't say anything. I'm like so awkward. I feel like I'm alone so much that I'm now like super awkward around people, but whatever. Or like I feel like the most genuine me is when I'm like reading or when I'm writing. I feel like that's when I'm like truly, truly myself. And if anyone like wants to like get to know me, you would have to like read my writing to know who I am. So in that aspect, I feel like I do have like a different life that I present and a different life like in my head. Because like, you know, like when I'm reading, like I'm not very like expressive in my life, I guess. Not as much as I am when I'm reading. Like when I'm reading, I'm just like cheering on people and like screaming at my book and like laughing and like not afraid to like laugh or like scream or like yell at people or whatever. And so in that way, I do feel like I have like a life in my head.
Yeah, I feel like to some extent, everyone has this version that they want to be inside their head. Like someone that's like you could be the most perfect person in the world, but you're always gonna have that one thing that you're nitpicky about that you would like to change about yourself. But I feel like yeah, like you said, like I think that's a great point. Like the life that I'm living now, flaws and all, like problems, like things that I have to suffer through, like things I have to go through, like whatever, like anxiety or whatever. I feel like it's what makes me me, and I couldn't be happier with where I am. Um, uh, and just like flaws and like hurdles in life or like problems are what make people who they are and like what teach them. So I think that's a huge thing to like keep in mind, especially with this book. Like, yes, she made a lot of like mistakes. She things that she could have taken back, things that she could have done differently, but it all led up to like this certain point where in the end she's the person that she's always wanted to be. She is the Victoria in her head. And it just it made her learn so much, like those things you can't learn without making those mistakes. So I feel like it added much more to the story. Like we said in the beginning, we're like, oh, why'd she have to lie, or why couldn't she just be with Strand? But then it wouldn't have taught her, like like what she experienced. But yeah, interesting question though. I always feel like to an extent when I see like a different person of a different version of myself in head. Like, when you're at a store, okay, when you're at a store and you see something you see like clothing on a rack and it's like so pretty and you're like thinking of the other version of your head that's able to wear that. Like kind of like that, and then like and the bitch and like, I would never wear that, but like you're thinking about it in your head to like an event or some party. And that's like the kind of thing that I thought you were talking about when I read this question.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very interesting question because I would like to hear what other people have to say, like about what other version they see of themselves in their own head.
Yeah, like if you're watching this live show way later and you have your own answers to our questions, you should like put them in the comments. And we check this like periodically, and so we'll see it and we'll reply back to you. If you even made it this long in the video, but
yeah, it's an interesting, like people will probably when they read the book look at the discussion questions because I think it's always nice to discuss. Like I feel like I don't have with like all the other books I read, I don't really have anyone to discuss it with, and I think that's what makes me kind of forget about books. Like forget what happened. I don't really I'm not reading as intensely as I would be for these Diversify the Verse books because. When you're reading it, you're like, oh, I have to answer questions later. I have to do a whole live show. So you're actually posting and you're actually writing stuff down in your notebook. Yeah, I know you, Belinda. I know you were writing.
The thing about my notebook is that I'm stuck on Children of Blood and Bone.
Oh my god, you still haven't finished it?
I have to finish that book before I can do anything else in my notebook. So
good. Oh my god.
Yeah. But I was gonna say something. Totally forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, I know. Okay, so like how Victoria is like a flawed character and she does make some bad decisions, but at the same time, like it's written in such a way that you still root for her.
Oh
like,
yeah.
She becomes like super annoying.
Oh my god, that's so true. Like throughout everything that happened, like throughout her decisions, her like, in my opinion, stupid decisions. Like she's not annoying. She's not this person that is like she's very selfless. She has such admirable traits that make you love her as a person and genuinely. I kind of like saw myself as her. Like if I was in that situation, like right, like in high school, like when you're looking back, you're like, oh, like that's the kind of the shit that I would do. Like
yeah. I don't know. She has just like so many like I really loved about her was that you do really get to like see in her mind, and she considered some things like that you would only like consider in your mind. You would never tell anybody. Like there's things that like I have considered in my mind. Like there's this one point where she was like, sometimes I wonder. This is on page 10. Like I wonder whether getting kicked out of Evanston would really be that would be so bad? What would happen if I just stopped? Life would be easier and I could breathe again. And I'm like, I have thought about that before when school is just like really tough. And I'm like, I can just drop out and life wouldn't suck anymore, but I'm not going to drop out. But it's like a thought that goes through your mind. You're like, why am I even trying so hard? Like when I don't really like have to do this kind of a thing. I don't know. I just found that really relatable. And the part that I really liked, we're going to like talk about some non-discussion things because I do have like some other things I want to talk about, like the characters. But there's a quote that I really like on page 294 where she's like, here's the thing. I'm in between two worlds, but I can't fit into either one perfectly. I can round my words when I speak English so that there's no trace of my family's accent. Hold my hair up into a bun so you can't see how wild and unconfined it is. My skin is pale enough to make me ethnically ambiguous. I could pass for Italian or Greek or French. But when I'm around all my Cuban relatives, I don't feel quite right either. My Spanish is clunky and I've never spoken it fluently, so I opt to keep my phrases short, a barely passable Spanglish. I don't bother with quinces or feel any nostalgia for a country I've never visited. And I just found that quote, just that whole paragraph, just to be like so relatable. As a person who is like a daughter of immigrants, and I'm like stuck between like the American world and life and like the Lao Chinese, which is like a whole big another thing. But I just like found that to be like really relatable, being a person who is kind of like, you're not enough of one thing, you're not enough of the other. So where are you?
Yeah, definitely.
And I just like, I don't know. I thought it was like, it's really cool. Like there's so many things in here that I just like really related to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also like I just want to mention like this book is it's very sex positive. Like I also think it talks a lot about that books kind of shy away from because yes, it is so freaking awkward and like even if you think about it in real life when you're not besides outside this book, it's just so awkward. Like you catch yourself thinking about it and you're like, wait, no, stop, like that. You shouldn't be thinking about it. Like I don't think people should be scolded or said like it's inappropriate to think about it because this stuff is like real. This shit is like it actually happens. And I think like the way that this book discussed it, discussed it, yeah, is really interesting and it's a lot more open than I have read in a lot of YA books, and I've read a lot, like trust me. And it was very much a discussion more than like just something that happened. Like that was a part of life. It was her really thinking about it, and she's like, "Why does this happen? Like, how does this happen?"
Yeah.
And another thing. Okay, I know like we're talking about good stuff, but yeah, I think this book for me especially, I felt like when I was reading it, I was kind of triggered because she talks a lot about body. And especially there's this one part where she talked like about her boobs and she was comparing it with like Annie's and she was like really like bashing herself like seriously. And I kind of like am wondering why it wasn't challenged, or kind of am sad that it wasn't challenged that much, like body image, her kind of criticizing herself, like why it wasn't challenged as much as it could have been. Like her it never really like stated that she was like confident and like so yeah. It's just
like challenged by who?
By herself, like her thinking like, oh, it doesn't matter, or oh, like I'm happy with like my body.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, I feel like it would be nice if that happened, but I also do feel like it's very like realistic.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And like so like even when I like am feeling like really down and I'm like, oh gosh, I hate how I look like trash and all this other stuff. But maybe it's kind of like, but I know it's like not true. I don't know where I'm going at it, but I just like do like really like how that.
Yeah, it's like showing you that it's like I know what you're saying. Like it's like this book is kind of showing like especially teenage girls who are reading this, like it's not only you're the one who's thinking about this, it's other people. Yeah, I understand that. And of course, because I was one of those people reading it, and I thought these things about myself, so it was like very relatable at that point, and you could see. And I think even though some other YA books have characters that are first person, I feel like Victoria's the first person narrator that I've ever felt this connected to because she's so open about her feelings. Like, now that I kind of think about it, I feel like the first person narrators in most of my other YA books, I feel like they didn't even know. I mean, like, it feels like they knew they were being written about in a book, so they just hid their feelings. They kind of like took it off. And this person,
this is why I compare it to Simon, because Simon does the same thing.
Yeah, that's true. So I feel like, damn, like that's such a good book, you know?
Yeah.
You get real thoughts, real feelings. You get everything the character's thinking with like no kind of filter. So it's an interesting book. Yeah.
I wanted to talk about the characters. Like, I didn't know how to like to put it in a question, but I just wanted to talk about like the other characters. Like Annie, I really love her character. Like, I would want a book on Annie because I don't know. I feel like she's really interesting. Like, she's, you know, like I guess she's a little stereotypical, I guess, and like how you like would picture, how people would picture her as being just like, you know, this extremely studious person. She's always on time. Like, everything's got to be like nice and clean and perfect and organized. Yeah. And I don't know, like there's like definitely like a way like you perceive her, but she's also like this incredible friend that like convinces Victoria that they should sneak out of her house.
Oh yeah, and like
or like just submitted the video of like there's that one part I was like a little annoyed at first where Victoria was telling her Annie about the band, and she was like, I'm thinking about auditioning, and Annie's like, no, you should audition because you have to work on school. And then like Annie's the one who sent in the video. I just like love her character because she's just such a loyal and good friend. And like even at the end where like Annie organizes the whole thing of like getting Victoria to go to like the Battle of the Bands thing.
Oh my god, like what?
Yeah. She's like the best friend. Like, I don't know, I love her.
Yeah, it like Annie definitely. Like, I honestly didn't think of Annie as such a big character. Like, as big. I know she played a huge part, but like I feel like I was more interested in other characters like Strand. I was more interested. I was interested in Karina too. I really liked her character, but not as much as Annie. But now that I think about it, yeah, everything that she did in the book she was such a good friend. She was so selfless. Like, she thought a lot about Victoria. Whatever she did, she wanted like her to succeed as well. Oh my god, and it was so freaking hilarious was when Victoria thought Strand and Annie were dating. Like, even like that was so hilarious. And like I mean, obviously we know what happened, but I just feel like those two personalities, holy, just think of it, Annie and Strand, like, oh my god. Not that it's impossible, but I'm just saying, like, just to think of those two people, like, what the heck? But yeah, like you said, like I could have read a book, like a separate book about any of these characters. Like, I feel like we definitely need a prequel on Strand's kind of like history, pre-Victoria and then post-Victoria. Yeah, so I feel like that's really interesting. But yeah, all the characters in here, I love the family dynamic, even though some parts really annoyed the F out of me, like when her parents would like kind of shut her down and kind of like not even consider, like when she was talking about NYU and they're literally like, why would you want to go there? Those parts kind of like annoyed me, but I thought that she had still a very good relationship with her parents, similar to how Simon had a good relationship to his parents, and Maddie. Oh my god, little Maddie. Little Maddie interrupting.
And I love at the end where he's like Strand has agreed to teach him how to play guitar, and like Maddie's like knocking on the door, like, are you done yet? Are you done yet? Can you teach me the new chord? I'm like, oh my gosh, this kid is so cute. And then like that was another difference, I guess I was trying to get at a little bit before, was like how Strand and like Mattie's relationship, and like Mattie and like trying to like meet Levi is like so different. Like,
oh yeah,
like, really more like a family person, like a kid person, and Levi was like, I don't really remember, but I remember that Victoria was like Mattie, you can't do any like all this stuff like that. You have to be like good and all that.
Yeah. You could see their, like, not only their relationship, like Levi's and Strand's relationships with Victoria, but also her parents change as well. I really hope in the future when, like, I'm dating someone, I really hope that my parents, like, don't, it's not, like, super awkward like that. That's why I think Strand like, if you're a person reading this book, you're so, like, taking with Strand, right? Like, even through reading it, like, you're kind of, like, the same way his parents perceive him. Like you're so like it's so easy to like read about him, to talk to him. Like when you're in Levi's chapters where you're kind of like just trying to step on try not to step on like the wrong thing. You don't want to like, you know, say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Both very different. Wow, I love that. It was like a little love. It was a semi-love triangle. Semi-love triangle created.
Semi-love triangle. I feel like if we got it from like Strand's point of view, maybe.
Do you think the book would have been better if it was in all their separate point of views?
No, I like it. It's just
I liked her. Victoria's she's such a good narrator. We need more books from this author.
Yes.
Like,
in this universe, I want to know more about these people.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like we definitely need more just books. Is this her only book? That's what I'm looking at.
I think she's written another one, or she's coming out with another one. I know she's coming out with another one for sure. I don't know if she has written another one.
Okay, let me see.
Okay. I do love, at the end, where her dad, like, where is it? Her dad. Oh my god, can we also talk about what? He's like, can you and Strand learn this song? And this is when they're still trying to, like, win over her parents. Like, her parents are, like, okay now, but, like, they're not, like, 100% let's support this band thing. But I think it's just so hilarious and cute. Like, I just love how much her parents do just, like, care about her.
Oh, yeah.
So much. Like, yeah. I don't know.
Oh, my gosh. Yes, she's coming out with a new book this fall.
Okay.
Oh, my God. That's so awesome. Like, this is so cool. It's also contemporary. I think it talks about anxiety. I'm just, like, skimming. Oh, yeah. But just other than that, I think... yeah, it was a really like we can't talk about it more. This book needs more attention. I think with our what's it called? With Secret of a Heart when our live show, like when I freaking talked about the book so much, freaking so many people read it. We should definitely
we're gonna talk about this book now.
Yeah, we gotta switch our focus now to this one.
But also I want a book about Annie because I also want to see Karina. Like I feel like it'd be interesting. I want to speak in Annie's perspective because I also want to see, like, I feel like there's a lot of room with her family, and then we get to see, like, more Victoria.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Annie's
and then, with Annie, like, and figuring out her, like, sexuality, I think that'd be, like, interesting to explore with her, like, her book. But also, like, Karina is such an interesting character as well. And, like, the whole thing with, like, Karina and their old, like, lead singer, like, what?
Oh, yeah.
I was so mad at Levi in that situation. Were you, like, super mad at Levi?
That's when I kind of started thinking, like, okay, this guy's kind of a douche.
Yeah.
Like, you don't do that. And also, okay, like, yeah, let's just establish the fact right now we want a book on everyone, all the side characters except for Levi.
Yeah.
Levi, I don't want a book about him.
I mean, like, if there was no other choice, I will take it. But, I mean, everyone else goes before Levi. I would rather have a book on Mattie. Or her, like, cousin.
Oh, what? No. That's too out of there. What the heck? Oh,
then Levi.
So cute. Oh, my gosh. This should be, like, a freaking, like, Netflix show or something. It'd be so freaking cute. Yeah, the Quince. Was it a Quince? I think it was.
Yeah, Quince, yeah. I can't speak Spanish. I'm sorry for butchering it.
No, it's okay.
I don't know, but like the whole, like, we're Strand. This is one of my favorite parts where let me see.
Oh yeah, no. My favorite part was when she asked Levi and the Strand's like, I'll do it. I'm really surprised Levi didn't get like jealous. That's like a telltale sign.
Yeah, like, he didn't even care.
Yeah, like what the hell? Like, dude, your girlfriend, like, he's literally volunteering. Like, I thought after Strand volunteered, I thought Levi would be like, oh no, never mind, I can do it again. Like, I thought he would say that, but he didn't.
I found my quote. Okay, so where she's like to Strand, like, aren't you supposed to be on his side? Because you're like his best friend. And Strand is like, Levi and I may be friends, but you and I have a sacred bond. Stronger than friendship. We're partners. And then she's like,
it's over.
It's over. I'm like, oh my gosh, Strand, you are so cute. I was like, all right.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Oh my god, I feel like it made them closer. Yeah, like, honestly, it's Levi's fault. If he would have done the key and say, she never would have gotten closer to Strand, okay? His fault, I swear.
True.
He's so angry.
Yeah, Levi does suck.
It's okay.
I feel like he just doesn't have himself figured out.
It's okay. We got our happy ending, okay, Belinda? Like, that ending was like, that ending was so freaking adorable. I can't.
It was. Oh, you know what else is funny? When her mom was, when she finally convinces her mom, and her mom was like, "Oh, do you get paid for being in the band?" And she's like, "Yes." And her mom was like, "Oh, good, we can save up for college with all your like band money."
Dude,
that's like the only thing that your mom gets on board.
That was also relatable because like my parents always ask me, like my mom is always like, "Do you get paid for YouTube?" I'm like, "No," and she's like, "Then why do you do it?" And I'm literally just like, "Oh my god, stop with this conversation." I hate that. Like I think I wrote a tweet once about that, and I was just really upset. You know, like you don't always have to get paid for everything that you enjoy. But I understand that, of course, money is like a huge thing. So like honestly, we need it to, you know, people need money, but it shouldn't be like the only deciding factor. You know?
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
That's coming into a whole other conversation about college and careers.
Do you have anything else you want to discuss?
Not really. Just that, like, this yellow is like my favorite yellow. Like,
yes, I love it so much. I had to get my own copy.
Like this cover, what the heck? Like it is the most. It's going up there on like one of my favorite covers of all time.
And I love. If you haven't noticed, people, I am dressed as Victoria.
Oh shoot, dude! You should have taken a picture with that.
I did.
Oh yeah.
Like wearing the same outfit, honestly. Even I wore shorts in that picture too. Even if
I didn't even notice that. Yeah, I feel it's so cute.
Yeah, I don't know. This cover is so good. I don't know. I really like it. Okay, so are we like done?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us for our April book, and I hope you enjoyed this discussion. It was a lot of fun. I don't know. This book is super fun. If you haven't read it yet, you gotta read it because it's so good. Like, have we not convinced you yet that you should read it? I mean, you've been spoiled with everything, but it's so worth it. You should definitely read it.
So her writing style. Her writing style is also really good.
What?
Her writing style, the authors.
Yeah.
Very fast-paced, addicting for contemporary.
Yeah, so I hope you join us. We hope you join us for our next book, The Way You Make Me Feel. Does Alex still have it?
Oh, let me.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Maurene Goo's books are like, I don't know, I feel like they're fun contemporaries. I mean, her first book, the main character was a little like, made some not very smart decisions and did some little crazy things, but I thought it was fun. It was like a funny book. So hopefully her next book is really fun and good too, perfect for summer, and I get to meet her, so hopefully I'll have some like inside info about her. There's Alex.
Did I leave? I'm so dead. Yeah, okay, here's it. Okay, am I back?
Yeah.
Okay, this is the cover.
Yeah.
So bad.
Super pretty.
So yeah.
So yeah.
What we're saying.
That is about it.
Yeah.
Say bye.
Thanks everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.